How did you learn to listen to yourself?
I'm nervous, I'm scared, but like, we won't let myself down. Just do it scared. Fear holds a lot of people back, like myself included, from doing anything. Like, you just do it scared. Again, you won't know how cool the thing is going to be unless you go do it. I have one life, and I think I want to go explore, especially while I'm young.
If you had to choose between happiness and success, what would you choose?
I don't see why they can't coexist. The moment I detached from this corporate job, the moment a weight is lifted, you know you did all right. Like, you know you kind of did the right thing for you. I'm on the right path.
Welcome to 101 Ways Out. I'm your host, Vanessa Jupi. What do you do when you check every box on the list of success? The marriage, the house, the stable career, and yet you still feel like there's something wrong. Today, I'm talking to Taylor Surdyke. At 31 years old, Taylor realized she was living a life that looked perfect from the outside, but made her deeply unhappy. So she made the brave decision to dismantle it. She walked away from her marriage, left her management job in logistics, and bought an RV. Now, she's living the nomad lifestyle and traveling the country. In this conversation, we talk about the power of intuition, the concept of doing it scared, and what happens when you finally stop performing for everyone else and start living for yourself. Here's my conversation with Taylor. Fantastic. All right. So Taylor, what we're going to start with is just an opening about you. So just tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, and the journey that you're on right now.
Yeah, so I'm kind of at the very, very beginning of kind of seeing what else is out there outside of the typical 9 to 5. I grew up in O'Fallon, which is like a suburb of St. Louis, and then I moved to Kansas City for school. So I went to college out here. At 18, I started dating a guy all throughout college. We got married, kind of, bought a house here in Kansas City and did all these things. And about 3 years ago, I decided to leave our marriage because there'd always been something that was not always sitting right with me, that I was like, I don't know, anytime I would sit in the backyard and it's like having this beautiful house, I have, this husband, 2 dogs on the outside looking in, it's like the most perfect thing. And it's always like, why do I still feel like something is off? Like something's not right. Like something's missing. And I know everybody said this is what you're supposed to have. And this is what success looks like and all these things. But I was like, why do I still feel like I'm getting more and more like depressed? Like, I knew I've been prone to depression for just a while and kind of growing up, but like, it was just getting worse and worse to where it was like, this is miserable and I don't want to do this. And like, as I've kind of started paying more attention, I like went to therapy, and I asked my ex-husband, I was like, will you go to therapy with me? Like, why am I the only one going to therapy? Like, if this is something I have within our relationship that is challenging me and struggling, like, why won't you do this with me? So it's so I was the one who was kind of like going on antidepressants, trying to go do the work. Why am I upset? But then it was like kind of the same common denominators, and I started seeing the same patterns. And I just was like, I feel like the only way things are going to change is if I take myself out of the environment entirely. My family, his family, we all were raised Catholic and, very strong Catholic beliefs, divorce, all that,
Yeah.
Yeah. With my family, it was a little bit challenging to like get them to understand until probably the second year of separation, that they were like, okay, like we're actually, getting on with life. It's okay. Like things are fine,
Yeah.
But I don't know. From there, it's just like I learned a lot. And from there, I've just learned even more about myself and had all these like things I've wanted to do deep inside me that I finally had the courage to go do. And I felt like I was really codependent on that marriage for a long time. And my ex-husband, because we had grown up together basically. So now I just kind of was like, I'm just going to start taking like life in my own hands and stop listening to like what everybody says is best for me. And like, because clearly I've done that and it didn't work out well, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So like, now I'm like, I'm going to go do what I think is best for me. And like, I've seen the magic of like following that and the things that like come through with that. So I'm like, I feel like I have like enough courage and enough like whatever kind of support, like I'm kind of spiritual. So I'm like, whatever kind of support I have, like, I think I'll be okay in whatever journey I go and take, as long as I'm true and authentic and work hard. And like work hard in a sense of like, continue to like show up for your goals. And like, because that can be the most challenging thing is being consistent. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I finally just have been able to take that like leap of faith and just be like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, but like, I'm going to do it. Something's going to happen. It'll be okay. I have all that faith in that I'll show up for myself, that we won't let myself down.
You said so many things there that are so interesting. But what I want to come back to is this idea of like you feel like the spirituality that you said you had, and just starting to trust yourself more, and that you're feeling better about that. Like you're starting to feel like things are making more sense. Is there a moment that happened where you started to move in the direction that you felt was more aligned with who you are, and you started to notice things change? And if so, what was that like?
Yes. So I kind of believe like I had my like spiritual awakening right before I left my husband. So it was probably like February, like I finally cracked. And since then I had like woken up and had become more intentional and kind of seeing some of the things like come back firsthand, like karma real quick, like same patterns, like instantaneous, like 1 year after another, just seeing it and being like, I've dealt with this before. Like in seeing and like knowing, taking control of that. But then like as I feel like I've started working on my shadows and kind of trying to work on my own vibration and like my own contentment, really like seeing how quickly like it comes back now as well. Like it was kind of weird because it's like I know I had karmic debt, and like so the last 2.5 years I kind of had worked really hard to get to a place of like contentment, to where it's like I know now if something happens it'll come right back around like instantaneously, or like sooner than later, essentially, for the most part. So that's something I just like really tried to be more aware of and be more present. And like when I know that I was going down a wrong path, I would continuously get those patterns, but then they would continuously intensify until I changed what it was when I knew it was going to come. And like being more aware of that pattern recognition and like being more prepared, like, okay, something's going to happen. What do we do? How can we change it in order to prepare for that, to make sure we can get it to not happen this time? And then kind of create.
Walk me through a time, like walk me through an example of that. Like what does that look like in your lived experience?
So again, part of like my spirituality is like, I believe our calendar year is also a little bit different. So in the spring, fall, like that's kind of where our new chapters start. So the first summer I was out on my own and like first recently separated, my car in my new apartment got my catalytic converter got stolen out of it. And so as somebody who was like, this was like a month after I moved in, and it was like, Jesus. So it was like kind of having to like take care of that and kind of work on that situation. And I was still kind of messing with like my ex-husband at the time, not like, but I was still kind of connected and like still, we had that, like, it was still hard for me to break from that. But then some of the patterns again were coming to fruition like the following year. So it was like the same. I recognized that like he and I were hanging out again during that time. And then I chose to do something that I'm like, oh, I know I needed to do like a different responsibility. And instead I chose him. And then same thing, like my car got towed within like probably within that like year span. But it was like the same time, like in the spring. And then the third year, I decided to like, I started kind of dating somebody, and like I had like a feeling to go hang out with them instead. And then within that time, like I was gone that weekend, and then the row of cars at that apartment, all the windows got smashed in. But since I chose not to go there, like, and not stay in the town and like go to this new connection, like I avoided that situation. And so,
wow.
Okay. Like I hear you, I see you. And like, so from then on, it's like, okay, these small little things. Cause then it was again, the exit to go to see that new connection. Like the exit was like exit 444. And it was like, okay, like, all right, I see you. Like I'm trying to go down that way and into new habits and new relationships and new vulnerabilities and like breaking down some of the things that I had, so kind of like things like that. And then from there, it just is like small things with like work. Like every time, like with work, I was really good at pointing out the patterns to where again, I was like, you guys aren't changing this. I'm fed up. I'm done. I'm not doing this. If you guys are continuously going to do this, I'm done. Like, there's no point. There's no point.
Right.
Like, I'm tired. I'm burnt out. I'm not going to continuously do this for years and years and years. Like, so either change or I'm going to leave.
It feels like do you mind me asking like what your age is?
I am 31. I'll be 32 this year.
Okay. So it feels like you're definitely not anywhere near old, but you're still in my mind young because I'm in my mid 40s. So you figured this stuff out pretty quickly in my mind. But what do you think what's behind that? Like, how did you figure that out? How did you learn to listen to yourself?
This kind of sounds crazy. But like, I like went to a music festival like 2 years ago. And so I kind of started getting into like EDM music, and like that community itself was really like interesting to be around because there were a lot of spiritual people. But on top of that, like I started doing a lot more yoga and kind of started like listening to like a lot more people who had these like more spiritual awakenings. And then from there, like going to this music festival, I was kind of like the first year I was like, I'm just going, experiencing, it'll be fun party, whatever. But then like the magic and the like vibrations and the frequencies, like the second year I went to that festival, I kind of went in more as like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to like kind of study this energy for myself and like what my purpose is for like knowing this energy, because I've always kind of felt some type of like empathy and like in that kind of sense as like a healer kind of self.
Yeah.
That like leaning into that and trying to discern that and not like, and just kind of experiment with that has kind of helped lead me to be more vulnerable with like listening to my intuition, to know that that magic is real. Like I've seen it firsthand and it's crazy, like what it does. And so like people can doubt that and that's fine. But like when you break out of like the construction of what society is, because we're such in a state of like low vibration, that it's like when you finally break out of it and see what you can actually bring to your world, it's like kind of mind blowing and overwhelming, but it's really cool to see like what it can do.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. And even what you were sharing about the vibrations and all of that, I don't know nearly enough about it. So what you're sharing with me is very, like, to me, it's like, oh, I kind of get a glimmer. The only thing I can add, and I'm curious about your thoughts. I know there was at one point some research, like, we live in this, I have always lived in this very like scientific world, and I really love data and I really love research. And there's not as much research on what you're talking about, but there has been a little. And there was research done about in cancer patients where they tried all of these different sounds and to figure out like what would help stop cancer growth. And there was like a certain frequency of a human voice that really helped patients. And they tried all these other sounds and pretty much nothing else helped. So that's the only thing I can really relate it to. And I feel like there's so much truth in what you're talking about. Tell me about the world opening up, like the overwhelming sense of that. What was that like for you?
Again, kind of same thing, just a little bit overwhelming, because now it's like, one, I kind of had a little bit of panic. It's like a little bit of panic, excitement, but also like, all right, you have experience on a lot of shit now. Like you're not young, like you've grown a lot. So you can put this towards that now. Like you can, it'll all come together. So it's okay. Like, and as long as I feel like as long as I keep that and know I have that, like it'll be all right. But it's pretty overwhelming because I worked my way up in my job. I've been there for almost 8 years now. So it was like, I worked from like a small entry level operations to being a manager for like the last 4 of those years. And so I'm like used to like, at one point I'm like, I'm going to be a boss. Like I want to be, I'm going to change the world. I'll do it internally. And now I'm like, that's exhausting and I'm tired and I can get the same satisfaction on the other, like doing something else. Like, yeah. Plus it was like logistics. So it's kind of a male driven like environment. And I just was like, I'm just tired. Like,
yeah,
I'm tired of this. But it got me the resources I needed to be able to do what I wanted to do. And so eventually I kind of, after I left, like stepped out of my, like in my marriage and started doing things on my own. Like I took a solo trip and like really studied, like, what is it that's keeping me here? Like, what is it that's keeping me from asking for a raise or keeping me from like doing this or that, or like making a change in this and in the company. And like, I was just scared and that was it. Like,
yeah.
the only thing I came down to it was I'm just scared.
Yeah.
So then when I like realized that, I was like, well, just go ask, because no matter what, just go do it scared. Whatever you're going to do, just
Yeah.
scared, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, it can open so many more different things just asking. Like, because if you don't ask, like, you won't know. Like, you don't even know the other possibilities that could come from this, but you were just too scared to ask. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. So like that led to a lot of like, growth in my company, being like, I was able to get a raise, and like I was able to get promoted. I, gained some respect from like my BP and my CEO. Like, there were those things that I was able to grow in my career, but now it's like, again, I want to use those tools to be able to go live the life I like actually want to live. It's, down by the river in my camper.
I love that. I totally love that. So tell me about like what led you to decide to leave? How did you have that conversation? And what did you do to prepare for what you're about to go do?
To be honest, my job, it was like, I like what I was doing. Like, I like logistics. I like the habitual things you did every day, but I also liked the problem solving that came with it. It allowed me to use my brain, and just, I enjoyed that. Like, and making a difference was cool, because we did a lot of freight, like intermodal freight. So just, we were shipping food. So we got to see how the market shifted. Like, all of that was really intriguing to me. It felt like I was doing something. But on top of that, like, logistics is very high pressure, like very like fast paced, and our company was growing really quickly. And there were a lot of the times where basically if I wasn't there, they probably would have really crumbled. Like I was the face holding up like their whole operations. And at the same time, they were kind of like, do better, do more, do this. And it was like, I'm breaking, because like I can't do it. Like, and I'm sorry, but like, you guys have to hire more, or like, I can't do this. Because it was like me taking on like basically like 3 other operations roles, but also like trying to make sure that everything is like as to a T, that we're, hitting the margins that we can hit, and keeping within KPIs and all that fun stuff. And it was like, but on top of that, it was like the environment started just getting really like toxic because of pressure. And it's like, I understand like the pressure of doing things, but at the same time, like, I wasn't feeling very aligned with how it was being handled. Kind of got to a point back in October of this past year of being like, I'm done. Like, I quit. Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care if I don't have a job lined up. I'm like, I'd much rather go. Like, I have friends that bartend, do whatever, and they're doing it, so I feel like I can do it. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, people can do this. So like, if I have to step away from this because I'm about to go insane, then so be it. like I can't do
So
it.
did you quit? Did you quit in October?
So I did. I put in a formal resignation, and then my VP pulled me in, and he was like, basically, what do I have to do to keep you here? And I laid out a whole list of like the different changes that need to happen, because again, over the years, I've recognized a lot of the patterns, and I was like, I'm not going through this for like the 5th or 6th time for this company, because it's exhausting and you guys aren't listening. And then in order for you guys to grow, you guys have to have a growth mindset, but you guys are continuously coming up from behind. And it's like, finally they were like, okay, so what do we need to do? And I was like, you need to update this, hire 2 people, like, get ahead of it, because that instantly when you hire somebody, somebody's going to quit. Like, it's just happened. Like, that's just how it's happened the last several years. Like, you see it coming. So they finally took that in consideration, to where now coming up. So I was like, fine, if you guys do this, I'll stay. I'll help get it implemented. But like, obviously, selfishly, I was like, this paycheck is nice. I have a set living right now that, the paycheck is what I'm after at this point. So I then took that opportunity from October till the end of my lease, which is in 2.5 weeks now, to take that opportunity to like really start to put my own plans in place, and like really become more strategic with the resource I have with my job. Like,
Yeah.
because it was like, I was getting paid very well. Like, it's, again, something that everybody works for. You want to work up the ladder, make a decent amount, like, so I wanted to take advantage of that while I could, to really kind of set me up, which also allowed me, because like, I love the people I work with. And again, I've been the person that like shit's fallen on me, but like there were people there that were like, let me help you. I want to do that. Like, what can I do? that I didn't really want to leave them in that space either. And I'm a believer of like, you can do it. You can do both. I know a lot of people have that, especially in corporate business, have that like, nope, you can't do it like this because I say so. Like, nope. But it was like, I believe like you can. So I'm like, okay, here, while I'm going to take advantage of you, you can take advantage of me in this time period and get your people, hire people. And by the time I leave, you guys should be good. And we can leave like, you guys are going to be better off and I'm going to be good. And it's a mutual beneficial situation that like nobody has to get screwed out of anything. Like, because again, it doesn't have to be that way, in my opinion. And I'm grateful that my VP, again, since we had several talks in the past about issues and that I brought up to him, that he was very, considerate and be like, sure, like, let's do that. Like, I'll give you the end of the month, whatever you want to do, like, go for it. And so I just was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I have to do this. And if I don't do it now, like, it'll probably take a while before I do it again. And like, this is the opportunity. And I told
When you say this is the excursion you're about to leave for. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And so your VP, you guys are on the same page. You're leaving your company now at the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
So he or she, is it he?
Yeah.
He kept you then from October. You stayed from October through June. So 8 months extra.
Mm-hmm.
Built up some reserves, and now you're about ready to go.
Yes.
So tell me where you're going and what you're doing.
So I have a big, broad plan. And then the goal is to find little plans in the midst of that big old grand plan. But I'm pretty much going on like nomad life. I am currently going to go live with my parents for the summer since I haven't lived with them in like 15 years. Plus, I think we have some of our own kind of healing and things we can work on this summer. So a lot of it is kind of more of like my enlightenment tour, I guess I should say. So I'm going to go spend some time with them over the summer. And then my goal is to get to North Carolina by the winter, like kind of get there by mid-fall and be there for a few months, try to get, just a job to pay for the room and stay, whatever I can find there. And then I like to hike and be outdoors and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get more in the regions where I can do that. So that's kind of my first train of thought, is to get to North Carolina. And then from there, I'll be able to kind of go north or south, mostly south for the winter, and kind of work my way to the other side.
Very cool. So are you renting rooms along the way, or how are you getting from place to place and all of that?
So I have a 4Runner, and I purchased an RV camper at the beginning of March. So I'm just going to pull that with me and basically find some spots along the route to just post up and camp out of my camper, and then just kind of camp, if I want to like go explore some weekend, like my goal is to go towards like Asheville, North Carolina, because it's towards like basically Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, all right there through Appalachia. And so then I can just take my car and like go on a weekend excursion somewhere and just sleep in my car, tent camp or whatever, and then just come back to my spot in North Carolina.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great plan.
Yeah.
Have you been out camping? Have you been camping much already with it? With your new camper?
I've done a few little excursions here around Missouri, and I've taken it to St. Louis, which is like the furthest so far. But I think, it seems like once I'm in St. Louis, I'm hoping to kind of like get my inspections really done and get everything like cleaned up and good to go. And then I think she'll be good to go for the road.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're going to take the rest of the summer, get everything ready, get everything checked out, and then you're on your way for your great. Do you have a timeline, or is this just going to be for however long you like it and see what comes from there?
So I had originally put a timeline because my type A side is very like timelines. We need this. We need a plan. We need to do that. But then I'm like, you don't need a timeline. Like you're putting that limiting thing on yourself. Like if it takes you this amount of time to get there, that takes you that amount of time to get there, So I'm kind of just letting it flow for now and seeing how that goes. And then I feel like I'm capable to be like, all right, now we need a plan if we need a plan, but here's what we'll do. But here I have like backup, plan A, B, and C if I need to, but I'm really trying to let the adventure kind of take me where it feels like it needs to go, and kind of planning and playing with that like intuitive nature and seeing if I can grow that more. And that's kind of like, I feel like this excursion and this challenge is working on that.
Oh, that's so cool. I think the intuitive side is really interesting because I think that a lot of us ignore that or push it down because we're taught to be so logical and practical, and that serves us in a certain way when we're living in the corporate structure. But it's a disservice because we're ignoring so much of who we are and what's critical to our nature. And it feels like you've spent quite a bit of time maybe unlearning that process. How has that been?
Yeah, definitely challenging.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better, and I will say over the years it gets a little easier. Sometimes are worse than others. Like I'm still learning old triggers and stuff like that. But like to your point, it's like, yeah, we're born, and all of a sudden, no matter what, we're born into like constructs. Like no matter if it's your parents' beliefs or even being like a girl born in this world, like, being younger, my rules were different than my older brother's rules. And it was just like, why? How come? Like kind of even just seeing those small differences play out like as we get older, it's like kind of realizing that we are human, but not only that, we're like mammals. Like we're mammals. Like we still have that instinctual things, like our emotions, like all of those things are normal processes that like we're taught, especially like I feel like in America, to kind of like push to the side in order to be better at a 9 to 5 and to ignore those things. And for me, I think it was just, again, making me just really unhappy doing that.
Yeah.
That it was just like, I think there's another way I can do this and still serve my purpose and also like help others in that process too of learning like, maybe you can do the 9 to 5 if that's something you want to do, but like also ultimately knowing you have to have that balance too. And like your creative passions or your hobbies or something that, again, like your passion projects, doing something that like still ignites your soul and not necessarily takes from it and makes it, like to where you're tired to do anything anymore. Like that's what's the point of life at that point. And I feel like people get old and then, retire, and you hear the statistics where it's like you retire and within 6 months people are dead because they didn't know that they should have been doing some stuff before they retired. That way we're sitting around not doing anything. And all of a sudden their heart's like, crap, like this isn't this.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I have one life and I think I want to go explore, especially while I'm young and like my knees are already starting to hurt and I want to go climb some of the tallest mountains and I don't want to continuously do that and, in pain. So it's like, why not do it now?
Oh, I love it. I don't know if it's always been like this and I'm just getting older. I also feel like our society is changing dramatically where we are right now. But I just feel like as a woman in America, I'm just tired of it. Just so
It's
tired of it. And it's so exhausting. I feel like I was angry and wanted to change the system when I was younger, when I started realizing, let me take a step back. When I was a teenager in high school, I literally believed that we had reached equality. Like I just believed that everything was the same. I thought the women's rights movement of the 60s and 70s had totally leveled the playing field. And I got my first like real kind of job building computers when I was 16. And I realized real quick that women were not treated the same way as men. And it was just like such a wake up call. And I feel like society has taught me that over and over and over again. And I'm just so tired of it. I'm just so tired of trying to fit into whatever mold. And again, I think I'm getting older. And so that's part of it. And I probably just have reached that point of I'm just not going to anymore. And I think society is changing. So I'm curious if you have any impression, and you don't have to share that. If you don't want to go down that path, we do not have to go down that path. But if you do have a take on it, I would love to hear it.
No, I totally agree with you. I feel like, women kind of have always almost been fighting for everything. So it's like, even to work, even to have a credit card, like, again, I'm really fortunate, like now, because of the women ahead of me that like had fought so hard for these things, that this sounds bad, but it's like, now it's kind of like, I want to like basically turn my back to like said patriarchy. And it's like, I want to go pursue my passions because guess what? It's not your corporate agenda that you guys have basically put in place that women, one, like tried really hard to not allow in, which is insane. But it's just like breaking away from that, but also like allowing, like, yeah, it's, I can definitely like go deep in, because it's like I am feminist in the sense of like I believe patriarchy is not good for really anybody, and not even men, of course, because it's like
Yeah.
now it's like we have such an imbalance of everything too, where it's like I think it is starting to drive that divide, and it's unfortunate because it's like I don't necessarily want that for men either. Like I want men to be able to go and feel the freeness that women are being able to have, like, but like up until, recently, like me being able to have my own apartment, have my own credit card, I have my own car, like we haven't seen, like we're like the first generations that have been able to like actually see that. And so it's like I want to do my part in order to be able to like try to do what I could for corporate business. And like the position I was in, I still tried to bring in my hippy dippy beliefs and things like that, where it's like I wanted to, like, the men I worked with, like I believe will hopefully still like be equality. Like I felt like they had my back just as much as like vice versa. Like it was like having a core group like that as like managers that I had, like they were my friends. And I felt that too, to where when I would see it in other aspects of the company, that it was like, I knew I had people backing me up. And I think that's just as important. It's like, so it's like, yeah, I agree that we're kind of like definitely at an imbalance. And like part of me also is like, I'm not gonna lie, it's really bad because I'm like, well, men should learn. Women have tried, women are doing our part. We're doing what we can. It's their turn to do it. But it's like, I also have that, like, I will do my best to try to see if I can help you, but it's also up to you to be able to take that. And if you don't take it, then that's your decision. And I'm not gonna press it further.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
as a person who is for community, it's like, I want to do my best to help as anybody who needs that to do it, like I want to be that support, but it's like, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to do it for yourself.
Right. Yeah. 100%. How would you describe the way that you were raised, and how would you describe your upbringing? Like, where'd you go to school? What'd your parents do? What kind of expectations did they have? Tell me about that experience that you had.
Yeah. It's been interesting because actually, like, since I'm moving back with them, there's been a lot of like, memories and things that are popping back up with living with them. Like, I kind of joked with my mom because we went to Chicago for this past Christmas, and I hung out with them a week or two before we went to Chicago. And I was like, yeah, like I think our upbringing was good. Like, I don't think you guys were bad parents by any means, but like there was definitely a lot of yelling in our household. And then my mom was like, what are you talking about? No, there wasn't. And then we went to Chicago with my brother, and like, and then all of a sudden, like everybody's like, and I looked at my mom and I was like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's still here. Like, just because we've grown up doesn't mean it went away. Like, nobody else has worked on this. And now the fact that I'm sitting here pointing it out to you, you're recognizing it. So she's like, oh, I see you. Like, it's like, yeah. So it's, um, we grew up middle class, and we've always kind of been in like the suburbs. I grew up Catholic. I think my dad really tried to be a very devout Catholic, but it never, for me and my family, I don't know, it just never really felt like that. Like, we prayed at dinner when I grew up, but as we got older, like that kind of like went out the window. But yeah, I would say I was like a tomboy. I didn't really, like, I always played sports at recess. For me, I definitely would say I had a little bit of some anger management as well. But come to find out, I think that was also undiagnosed ADHD that I finally got help for this past year. So it took only, 31 years, but that's okay. But like, there's different things like that where it's like my brother got diagnosed like at 18.
Yeah, because they look for that in men, and yes, it's another one of those things.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like that, where it was like, I felt like my brother was coddled a little bit more than I was, and he was the older brother. And, there were things that like I was able to do on my own, and like stay home by myself, cook my own meals. Like, I'm doing my laundry. Like, my mom wasn't surprised the moment I left that I was not living in the house anymore. But for me, like, I just, like, my parents were good. I think they weren't like in tune as much as like with their emotions. So I felt like a lot of like my own, I would say like I was a very curious child. Like I very much had like questions. I was always, I think I was very in tune with a lot of things. And I don't know if my parents necessarily knew how to like navigate that. So I would say like they wouldn't necessarily know how to have the like emotional capacity. So like my emotional needs weren't always quite there because like I would have a lot of questions or I would have, to kind of figure things out on my own. So it was just kind of like I am grateful for because then again, I've learned how to be able to like know what I need and like how to stand up for myself a little bit better. And now again, going through this process, I see like I know more, sometimes a little bit more than my parents do. And that kind of shocks me a little bit because I'm like, damn, I always thought you knew better, but you really kind of don't sometimes. And that's okay. Like you didn't know any better, but now that I know, like that's kind of how it was. But like, for example, like everybody in my family, like they went to private schools and things like that. My parents wanted me to go to a private high school and I got there for orientation. They were trying to measure us for the little fits and everything. And I just was like, no, get me out of here. Like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Get me out. And so I'm like really grateful that I went to a public school because it was like, I got to learn so many different people. And like, my friends were always kind of like what my parents, I would say, consider more like the outcast kids. I was more like a emo kid, like a little bit just alternative kind of style. My mom, I think, always kind of wanted like a preppy, like girly girl. And I'm just like, no, if I left and I didn't have makeup on, she'd be like, don't you want to put a little like something? And I'm like, no, girl, I'm cute. Like, I'm fine. Like, if I put makeup on, like they better earn it. Like,
I love it.
Just kind of things like that where like, I think my parents are kind of more hypercritical of like what people like thought of them. Like they always wanted like a nicer house, or a bigger boat, or they always wanted something. And it was just kind of like, man, you guys have a really nice house. Like people would be super lucky to have what you have. Like, so there were just always things that I would catch myself being like, why are you so harsh? Like, why does it matter what they're doing? Can't we do this? Like, so they were just very more like of the conservative, like want to look this way, have a presentation about you. And then I just felt like I was more authentic than that. So I would be considered like the black sheep for sure. Like didn't quite fit that mold.
That's so interesting that it's always so interesting to me that people that are in your example, in your household, that you just were so different, just naturally so different. And you did not fit into the mold. But how many siblings do you have, by the way?
I just have one older brother.
So when? So
Yeah,
your brother went to private school. Did your parents go to private school too? You said everybody in your family, so I was curious.
So. But it's okay. I think St. Louis comes from a lot of old money though as well. So I feel like they just wanted, I do believe they wanted best for their kids, but like I also believe that it was like a status situation. So I think they wanted that as well.
Yeah. And then your parents, did they both work? Mom and dad?
Yeah. So my dad, when I was younger, he was a VP for a bank. And then my mom has worked for like the same company and she just retired from there for like 35 years in sales and marketing. But then when I was in like second grade, around that time, my dad switched and started working with my grandpa and my uncle at their used car dealership.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both of your parents, at least at some point in time, had professional jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, what are their educational backgrounds?
They both went to Missouri State.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you in what. I think my dad did some sort of business and then my mom was like administrative or something like that.
Yeah. I just find it so interesting. As I do these interviews, it's going to be really interesting to me to kind of understand like how much did upbringing shape the choices that you make down the line. And so you're probably my 5th interview that I've done. So it's still early days. So thank you very much for being here.
Of course.
But it's just going to be, I just think it's so interesting to kind of understand like what makes us who we are, what makes us feel confident to take a leap like what you're taking. How much of it is like the household environment, the family environment versus how much of it is like what happens beyond that.
Yeah. Cause I mean, like even again with like the Catholic background, I think it was like the first summer that I had left my husband, my dad was like, I just don't respect your decision. And I was like, that's fine. You don't have to respect it. But like, as my dad, I would like hope you would still support me. And like, it took my parents kind of a second for them to like kind of come around. And so I was like, that's fine. If you don't want to come around because I made that decision that was best for me, then don't expect the same in return. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be there for me. So don't expect me or don't guilt trip me to come home or to do these things when you're not being there for me. Like, that's not how this relationship go. And so it's like, I've had to have those conversations with them too. It's like, like, would you have said that to like one of my friends who is leaving their husbands? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, why do you think that's okay to say it to me? Like, and I'm your daughter. Like, you're supposed to love me, like, and from just my friends and stuff, I'm like, my friends don't say that, like my friends who love me and choose to love me, like, they would never tell me that. Like, they would be like, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Like, I bet I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you were going through all that or whatever. Like, like they wouldn't be like, I just don't respect your decision. Like, okay.
Well, it comes down to it. I feel like it comes back to what you were saying as far as like appearances and wanting to everything to be a certain way and in a way control because you're their kid. So it's like for them, it's different. And that doesn't make it okay. It's absolutely not okay.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that you had both the confidence, in my mind, the confidence to get the divorce and the confidence to have those conversations with your parents. Because I can promise you, there are a lot of women that I know that are much older that still don't have those conversations because they're afraid of how their parents will react. And they're afraid of losing that connection if it means standing up for themselves.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's really impressive.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like out of this whole situation, I think it's opened up a lot of conversations with like my friends, my family, and even my ex-husband. Like, I would say like we're closer now because we like broke past that where it's like, okay, I can like talk to you because before I felt like I couldn't. And like, that's why this whole thing kind of went to shit. So, but it's kind of like, again, being able to like learn how to communicate all of this and then like tell my parents, it's like, you guys still like, here's the things that kind of affected me and then pull up in my relationships. And then here's the things when they happen at that time. I'm like, see, you're still doing it. And this is why I'm talking about this now, like, it's like, if we're going to have this relationship, like, we have to have this boundary of like, I'm a human being as well, just because I'm your daughter. Like my mom, what you were saying, like my mom kind of took it personally that I was doing this. And I was like, why are you taking it personally? And she's like, well, you're a part of me. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like, why are you taking my decision personally? Like, it's not like, what is it? Like, I get this affects you in some sense, but like, how?
The divorce decision?
Yeah.
Or a different, yeah.
Yeah, my mom was like, I took it personally. Like, you took my divorce personally? I don't understand. Like, this wasn't to spite you. Like, this was for my happiness.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. And it's amazing. Again, I just want to, for whatever it's worth, like, it's really great that you have that open communication with your parents and you're able to have those conversations and help them to see things in a different way. I hope that if nothing else, that people whoever listens to this podcast, I hope that people take away that they can learn that skill set as well and advocate for themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and it's like that weird switch where you're like, hey, wait, I'm an adult now. Like, I know what I need. Like, and before, whenever I was like still in that like environment where I'm like, I was depressed. I don't know. I don't have that self-worth. So I don't know what I need. And like figuring that out in the journey and like, again, standing up for yourself, like does teach you like the things you're a little bit scared to do, but do it anyways. It will always teach you something. And then you look back and be like, hell yeah, I'm a badass. Like, this. So what else can I do? It's like, yes, first. And then once you do it the first time, it's like, okay. The second, third time, it's like nothing. Now it's like, okay, this is how it is. It's just
just reinforces the badassness.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Like, I can't help it any other way. Like, my goal is to be authentic. And if I can't do that, like, I will voice when I feel like I'm not being able to do that. And then it's like, nobody has to choose me all the time. I don't choose everybody all the time and vice versa. But it's like, if you're authentic and people choose to stay, that tells you a lot. Like, to be like, okay, that person really does love you, to try to do what you need in order to make that relationship work.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that so much because you cannot make everyone happy. And I think sometimes people contort themselves, women especially, just to try to please other people.
Yes.
And the faster that we can break out of that and like live more authentically, the better off we're going to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's like crazy how much more fun. Like, I read somewhere too, and like, again, the same self-help, but it's like, again, with the vibrations, and it's like, yeah, dancing is a high vibration and like all these things, but your most authentic self spreads more contagious than just a smile or a compliment. Like being your most authentic self will like encourage somebody else to do the same. And that is the most highest vibration you can have, which then helps, again, people open up to being able to do the things that they want to do and feeling comfortable and exploring the passions and doing things like that.
Yeah, I love that. Exactly. And we only have, like you said earlier, we have this one life. We have this one chance, this opportunity to have the most fun and the greatest experiences. And I hope by sharing stories like what you're doing right now, other people will feel like, oh, I could do that. I should look into that. You know, what was your decision-making process like when you realized, okay, I actually think I want to do something different?
Yeah, I kind of think it was a bunch of small little individual ideas that kind of collectively were like, okay, I'm going to do this. So for a long time, like I like to go camping. Like, so I really kind of started out going on like little float trips and stuff like here in the middle of Missouri and just really enjoying that and camping. And then as I've like gotten older, I started doing more like I wanted to go see like Angel's Landing and like Zion and like do all those camping trips. And then I started seeing people doing like vans and stuff like that. And so then my ex-husband and I see this is part of the magic where I was like, oh my God, we're doing it. Was like, you know how like the screensavers on like a Google Chrome or like a Who or something come across, and it's like, I think it was Crater Lake. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go there. And then so from there, I planned a road trip from Seattle down to San Francisco in a conversion van. And so we were able to hit like St. Mary's Glacier, I think, or St. Helens Glacier, whichever one up there.
Oh, yeah.
St. Mary's. And then like went down to Crater Lake, all the way down to the Redwoods. And so we just camped in this van for a week and a half. And I just like fell in love with it. And then so I did another one of those in Asheville for a weekend. Same thing, just drove around, which I've been to Asheville a few times and like absolutely loved it. And so there were just like things like that where it's like, I've camped a lot. I've done this a lot. Like, I think I can do it. Like, I think I've enhanced my camp experience and I know how to do it now that I'm like, I think this is something I really want to do. And I also don't want to like the US is huge. Like there's so much to see, like so much terrain, like all this different, like, yeah, I want to go abroad, but like here is so much bigger than even like Europe or anything that it's like, first things first, I want to explore around here and maybe potentially find somewhere where maybe I do want to land long term. Like if not just in Missouri, you know, like I've only been in St. Louis and Kansas City. So it's like, what if I find somewhere way cooler that fits me a little bit better? You're more aligned at that point. You know, it's like, I don't even know because I don't know what I don't know. That was like one intention that I'm like, well, maybe I'll just go while I'm exploring and camping and hiking and doing all the things, like go figure out if I like any of these places to like eventually come back to and maybe settle down and see how it goes there.
I love it.
Yeah, but if I have to, I'm like, I know I like Kansas City, so I can always come back too.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Like that idea of leaving that window open, right? Like I can always come back. If I don't find something else, I can always come back. Like that's not the end. Makes it feel like so possible.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of alleviates the fear. Yeah.
Well, and to know that like, again, people are doing this. Like I'm not the only one doing it. Like there are other people actually making it happen. So it's like, okay, if they can do it, why can't you know, like I can do this.
You know that moment when you realize that you can't keep living the way that you've been living? You've probably heard several of my guests talk about that already. If that resonates with you and you're feeling like you're in that moment, you're in luck. I've created a 30-day program that's going to help you become unstuck, reconnect with your joy, reconnect with yourself, and reconnect with your values. We're going to work together to figure out your next step, your vision, and your path forward. This is an invitation for you to live the life of your dreams that truly lights you up. Visit 101waysout.com to get started.
So do you have a plan or an ultimate goal or vision for what you would love your life to look like?
I feel like I'm leaning towards just trying to find one. I just think mountains. I think there's somewhere in me that I just have to, like, ever since I was little, I have to be in the mountains somewhere. I think the Smokies always call me for some reason, but I just see like just being content. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody just from my worldview, how it's changed is like everybody's been in a rush to go basically settle down. And so I'm just kind of like, why can't I just settle down? Like, why do I have to work so hard to go settle down? Like, again, I know I've like, again, have been fortunate enough to build up like the resources to kind of have that mindset a little bit. But it's just like, I'm trying to like eliminate the excess noise of just like materialistic things that don't really matter and just create more of the connections along the way that I think are the most important, and kind of helping people find that as well within themselves. So just kind of living in that like state of contentment with just me with nature, and just knowing that like I'm safe, I have the resources I need, and that's all I can really ask for. And that makes me happy.
I love it. And so you talked about like helping other people too. What does that look like for you?
Kind of like what I was mentioning before is like in this spiritual journey, I feel like I've opened up kind of like that healer sense in me, into where I've been trying to practice more like Reiki and getting more advanced in Reiki practice. So that way I can help people that feel stuck or blocked or, having issues get to their own like insecurities to feel comfortable letting those go and knowing that they don't like serve you, and like helping kind of relocate that energy elsewhere in order for people to live their most authentic life. I think sometimes I can act as like a mirror that I don't know how. Like, again, it was kind of a freaky thing, which initially started the spiritual stuff, which I was like, I don't know what this is, but like, I can like go in and talk to people and pull stuff out of them that basically I say what they've probably been thinking or holding in. And it's happened a few times that it, again, freaks me out, but they're also freaked out. Like, how does this girl I just met know like my deepest, darkest, like soul intriguing things? And it's like, I just feel you. I don't know. I just feel this energy. And I just feel like that's my job, is to help you get through it and know like it's just a block and you can get past it and feel fuller and let that through. But again, it's the same thing. It's just, you can try to help people as best you can if they're going to take it or not. But I think that's just a part of my purpose in connecting with people, is teaching them how to do that and how to open up a little bit more. Because again, I know that we're in that imbalance. And so I think that's part of my purpose, is connecting people and uniting people into a community in some sorts, and finding that support where they probably didn't have that before, and knowing that somebody is there. And like, no matter what, like my belief is that we are all a collective consciousness, that we're all separated in just different little human beings, but like no different. Like I love you like I would love somebody else, because I know that's just a different version of me. We just look different. So it's like, I just want the best for everybody. So I feel like it's part of who I am and who my journey is, that I need to go help those people in that situation and spread that, I guess.
Oh, that's so neat. Do you know how you're going to do that?
No, I think, again, I think it's a part of the intuitiveness. I think people find me when they need to. And that's kind of how I feel like it is. Like, it's like, I believe in the law of attraction as well. It's like, things come, they go, and I'm there to help if I'm there to help, or I hope they take a ripple from something from me. But that's pretty much just how I try to live, and just kind of teach people how to do that as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that purpose.
It's a lot, it's overwhelming, but it's a big.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, the overwhelming statement totally makes sense now when you're looking at that like big picture, and also thinking about like how much of an impact you can have. If you had to choose between happiness and success, what would you choose? And has your answer changed over time?
So this was one of the questions I actually had pondered on, because part of me was like, I don't see why they can't coexist.
Yeah.
In a sense of like, I think it takes a lot of work to find happiness. And I also believe happiness is just a human emotion. So you can experience it for 60 to 90 seconds and it's gone. But I believe that you can also like have more of those moments, which is good. But I think that's a success story in itself, is finding that happiness and being content with that. So I think, again, it's subjective in how you look at what success is for you. But for me, it would be a success for me to find that happiness and that contentment that I'm looking for, which Like, I know we all, like, I think we're all kind of on that little mini mission of what will make us happy. But I think that is my success, is just like doing what I want to do and finding happiness through it. Is that like, that's a success story to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to pivot back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, that you kind of mentioned it as a goal, I think, and that was to climb mountains. Tell me more.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Like, everybody's like, do you have a list or this and that? And I was like, no, I just want to go. I just want to go see. I want to go explore. Like, yeah, the national parks are really cool. But again, with the situations going on in our current environment, I don't want to like disrupt any more than what is probably already going on. And like, yes, I would love to get to those eventually, but I just think there's probably some really cool hidden trails that like locals know about or things like that, that I don't have like a set like mountainous goal that I'm trying to do, but I just want to go see everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, again, you know, Missouri and Kansas doesn't quite have that view.
Yeah.
But it is. It's just something that like makes me feel good. It makes me feel connected with nature, and just like, I always find synchronicities with just everyday life and climbing. And it's just like, yeah, this sucks. This is so hard. But once you get up there, that view is so cool. And then you get a snack and you get to hang out and just chill and enjoy the view, and like feel so good that you did it and like feel accomplished. And I think that's just a really cool exercise to be able to do that, especially just in the middle of nature. And I think it's just like a giant playground. So it's like, I'm just going to go have fun and just explore and see what I can find. And I don't know. So just, that's something I just always kind of look at, is like, and also compare my life with, is just each time I level up in something, like I feel like it's like, yeah, the climb is always hard and it's always really scary. And I'm actually really kind of afraid of heights, but I still want to go. And I still want to go see the top of the rock, and I still want to go do it. And so it's always just something about like knowing to get past that fear to see like that cool thing that's on the other side. Like, I think it's always the coolest thing to go on the other side and see it. So it's always worth it.
Fantastic. If you were giving someone advice that's trying to figure out what to do with their lives, what advice would you share?
Honestly, kind of just do it scared. Just do it scared. Like, I think fear holds a lot of people back, like myself included, from doing anything, like even just asking out a person. Like, I think fear just is a really big hold on people. And so it's like, if you just do it scared, again, you won't know how cool the thing is going to be unless you go do it. Like, I can tell you how cool it is, but unless you go and just do it yourself, like, you'll see how cool it can be and like how freeing it can be. Is just do it scared. And like, when you do get scared, just try to change that fear into excitement, and to just be like, you know, all the things that could go wrong. But it's like, what if all the cool things you're about to go experience and learn about? Like, what about all the cool people you're about to go meet, or like the cool things you never would have thought ever existed, like showing up? Like, that's really cool, you know? So it's just kind of just shifting that mindset from fear to like excitement, and like just doing it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. Do it scared is great advice. It is so strange how fear holds us back, me included, you know, so many times. Like, but once you do it, it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah.
And every single example I could think of, you know? So, okay.
New hobbies and stuff. Like, I was like, part of the confidence boost is like, I want to go try do this. And then once I do it and I start doing it, I'm like, oh, you know, after 3-4 classes, you're like, oh, this is routine now. Like, I got this. We're fine. You know, that's just like anything else in life.
Yeah. That's fantastic. What's the most liberating decision you've made since leaving your corporate job that you would have never made before? And I wonder if yours is your corporate job or if it's something else for you.
Yeah, to be honest, I would say like leaving my husband gave me the most courage to like leave anything that's not good for me. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, well, if I'm not going to stay for this person who loves me, why would I stay for a corporate job that doesn't actually, they just pay me, you know? Like, I don't really owe them anything. Like, they just pay me to do a job that I'm paid to do. So like, I think doing that and just finally listening to my intuition with leaving my husband, not that he did anything like, you know, terrible or, you know, like Like we have a good friendship, we're amicable, but it was just like, again, deep down, something's not right. There's that in the pit of my stomach, something's not right. So just leaving that and then knowing like once I left that, how like the weight was lifted, and then realizing the moment I detached from this corporate job, like that same weight was lifted. That tells me I'm on the right path. Like the moment a weight is lifted, you did all right. Like, you kind of did the right thing for you. And I think that's a huge sign that sometimes people miss. And it's like, remember that sign. If that sign can happen in anything, like a friendship, anything that doesn't serve you anymore, the moment you step away from it, that like it lifts. So
that's great.
So I think taking that step from my husband was the biggest life-altering thing ever, because it then caused all these other ripples for me to feel confident in stepping away from things that no longer align with me.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm sure that so many people are going to hear that part of your story and be like, oh my God, yes. So thank you so much for being open to that. How can people find out more about you if that's something you want and follow along with your trip? If that's not something you want, that's okay too.
Yeah. Actually, I've had some friends. I'm not really big on TikTok or anything, but I had some friends try to encourage me to do that while I start this process, since I am in the beginning, and just showing some of even like the really hardships that come with it. So right now I'm only on Instagram, and it's just, I think it's just at Tay Surdyke or Tay Doing Things. If you want to type that in, that should pop up as well.
Yeah.
And then I might be on the lookout for a TikTok, so I can let you know if I start one of those up too.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate it. And is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about that you wanted to share?
No, not really, but I wish the best of luck to everybody, including you, with your passion projects. And I really hope everything works out, and to continue keeping that like energy up. And it's really good to keep doing that, and to encouraging people to do the same.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Thank you. Yeah, well, this is exciting because I get to talk to people like you and learn about your dreams and your journey and all of that. So it's just like incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
So thank you, Taylor. Thank you for joining me. I absolutely loved Taylor's advice to just do it scared. So often fear doesn't disappear until we're already on the other side of that leap. If you want to follow along with Taylor's travels and see her life on the road, you can find her on Instagram. I've linked her handle in the show notes. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe and leave a review. That'll help us reach other people who are looking for their own way out. I'll see you next week. And until then, go rewrite the rules.